We're back finally. Been a couple of weeks. A lot has changed here. We're going to get to all that in a little bit. Um, our last live was only like a 18, 19-minute one, and we thought we were going to go live last weekend, but we wound up not traveling up to the train, open house that one of the train clubs had. Just we've all been under the weather on and off, and just couldn't get there. So, but in the meantime, we have been working on a lot of stuff here, and a lot has really changed. You'll see what that is. You might be able to see some of it already around me here, but it's really moving along fast now. I've got some reviews. I'll tell you about how some of the products are that we've been working with, how they've been done. We didn't do any videos on them. We did some on some of the things, but for a bulk of what we did, I didn't do any reviews. I just showed you how I did the procedure. So if you haven't watched the videos on what I'm about to show you here, they're all there, and I show you how to do some scenery, some painting techniques, things like that. So the down here, the HO, nothing has changed on it since the last time we got together. But the biggest change coming has been this up here. Within a week, we are going to have 3 operational loops, main lines up here. I've been working really hard, and the thing when we get everything actually operational, it's actually going to be scenic. So that doesn't usually happen when you start putting track down and things like that. Is that when you finally get to run your first train, you already got your scenery done. We ran into a few problems on a few things. I had some paint issues with some of the spray paints that I was using. I think I was rushing things a little bit, and I was getting some bubbling happening. You'll see here along this wall right here, it's not, we don't have anything complete on it, but it'll be done. Now that Thanksgiving week is here, everybody's off, so I'll have some time to get to it and try to get this retaining wall finished so it'll look really good. And I've got some concrete things I need for an overpass that has to be done. So that'll all be coming up this week and painting. So before the next live session that we have, all of this should be completely finished here. Plus, hopefully, we'll have the jump track going across right here with the 3 rails going across for just the lower 3 loops before we get the transition going into the up and down, because we'll have grades up here to where these trains running along here will be able to climb up into the layout.
Okay.
Yes.
Vintage HO Train says hello, and Russell's Music and Song says, however you build your layout, I'm sure it's going to look awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry, I paused there for a minute. Somebody said hello, so hello. I don't know if you'll be able to hear my son in the background or not. And somebody made a comment about the layout, that it's going to look awesome however we do it. Well, thank you. That's putting a lot of faith in me, more than I have in myself right now. I'm working on it. We're gonna really try to get some really good techniques going on this. But thank you for that. I'll try to live up to it with how we do it. So we did a lot of stuff this past week and a half. Biggest thing has been the time killer, has been hand painting track. And I'm going to show some of that today. We're actually going to have a little bit of a build session a little later after I get done showing everything here. There's some things I wanted to work on, so I thought, well, you guys want to be along for the ride, we'll sit and we'll visit, and I'll work over here on the table, and I'm going to paint some track, and I've got a thing over here in the corner I need to work on, so we'll get to that too. So I'll just show you how I go about doing things. I know there are probably easier steps to do things, but to get the end result that I like, I've got set ways I like doing stuff. So we found some really interesting products. One that I came out really good. I'm not pitching it I'm not getting anything for it. I found a really good ground covering. It'll work for both N-Scale and HO. It doesn't matter. I didn't like the dirt products, a lot of the dirt products and things that I've been seeing out there. And we were at Menards the other day, and I thought, well, let's just go buy some play sand, for that you use in your sandboxes and equipment like that, and place things like that. But we came across this thing. It's like tube sand. it's 45-pound bags of sand that, well, I thought I'll give it a try and we'll see what it looks like. So we brought it home, we opened it up, and it is excellent. And it was $3. Well, 45 pounds is more than I'm ever going to need for this entire layout, both top and bottom. So it's my ground cover. It's my go-to ground cover that I'm going to use for my basing on everything, and then putting the layers of color on top of that. Your grass colors, your any of the other well, if you got like blacktop for parking lots, things like that, which I'll show you. We're going to have an area over here for that. But it's really good stuff. And it's got like itty bitty fine, really fine sand to it, but then it also has you have like little pieces. This is some of the stuff I pulled out that was a little too big for it, but I'll show it to you. But very rare this size stuff, especially for N scale. But you'll see it when we get to it here. But a really good product. I don't remember. I think in our how-to video on how I did this, I'm pretty sure we have a pop-up. My son put a pop-up showing what the bag is of the material that we actually use for Menards. So if you're interested in getting some for yours, if you see it and you like it, you can do it. It should work for HO too. It might be a little fine for HO, but if you put more of these pieces in, it'll probably balance itself out. So we found some really good stuff with that. So I think what we'll do is we're going to go with a tour of what's going on here, and I'm just going to walk along, and I'm going to give you a slow pan and show you what's happening with this little shelf area. This is, so just for terminology, this is the lower line that I have for the layout, and then we have the elevated line. We were going to have two main lines up here on the pink level, but I think we've turned that now into, I'm almost pretty much 100% positive we're just going to make that a point-to-point single line for switching, getting into all the industries. Because there's going to be some stuff happening over here that's going to be industries that we can change out. That's going to be really cool. And our first one that we're going to do is going to be that power plant that we have right here that we bought from Menards. It really lights up beautifully. I'll turn it on here after a while if you guys didn't see that video on how that looks. I'm going to scale it down. I'm going to take it and I'm going to modify it and I'm going to scale it down for N scale. Because it actually, if I do that, it's going to be about the right size of one of those tri-state power plants that Walthers has for HO, but in N scale size.
Rammer says tube sand may have salt in it.
Yeah, I thought about that, and somebody said tube sand may have salt in it, so beware of that. I thought that there might be something like that, and so I did a little test area on it to start off with to see how it would be, and I thought if there's salt in it, we'll see a discoloration. It'll turn everything kind of white. You know how salt gets. So when I got my glue mix and I did a little test area of it, I really saturated it heavily. And I thought, well, if there's any salt in it, it'll dissolve it, and I'll start seeing telltale signs of white. And there was nothing. It's just pure sand, which is nice. So we lucked out on that, and so that's why I am going to recommend this, because I don't think you're going to. When I get the camera on it, you'll see this stuff has been wet and dried. It's been completely. It was saturated. It's been completely dry now for probably 4 days, 5 days, and I've seen no discoloration happening with it. Like things turning white. It's all staying the colors that came out of the bag. So I'm pretty happy with that. So, but we'll get to that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the tour right here, and I'm going to show you what we did, and I'll explain as we go along all the little steps that we did to get to this point, and what happened over here. Big changes over here, big changes here as far as the future of what this side's going to be. All right. So let me get the camera, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to do a tour. I'm going to show you everything, and then I'm going to put the camera back here, and I'll let you guys, if you have any questions about anything, I'll be happy to answer them, and then at that point, we're going to set up the camera over here because I'm going to work on this area right here. And you'll see what I'm getting ready to do there as far as how I go about my procedures on placing objects in after I've done landscaping and things like that. All right, so here we go. We'll get this. Now I'm going to go a little slower because people have said I kind of go a little quick. All right, let me get my glasses on so I can see the screen. Okay, so right off the bat, this is, here is, a lot of this is the sand right here that I was talking about. And it has a variety of color in it, which is really nice. It makes for a really good contrast for what we're doing. Now this right here, here's the track that I was talking about, and this has all been hand painted, and I'm going to do some of this today, and we have a video that that shows how we did that. So the as you can see here too, this was the foam, the black foam that I put down. It took the paint beautifully, and I'll show you the ballast that I selected for this project. It just painted up as, in fact, I think it covered quicker and better than cork did, than cork ever did for me. So, all right, this is the wall I was telling you about right here, where the concrete wall is going to go. That bubbled on me that I had to I'm having to redo. So we're going to come down a little bit. Oh, and here, give you an idea. I've just placed these here so you can kind of see. We're going to have a lot of our tall buildings now coming forward, and they're going to be like real close right here with a little bit of maybe a sidewalk or something, or pass through with a fence along here so that, you know, theoretically the little people won't fall off and die. So when we start doing our filming of our live shots, this is kind of what you're going to get to see. You're going to get to see the trains coming along right here, and then you're going to have just a ton of tall buildings just all stacked right along here. So that's what's going to happen. And we've already got I've already bought the STL files for them. We're going to be putting those in place. We're going to start printing in about a week and a half. We'll be putting up probably a new building about every 2-3 days. Now, we may not get around to painting them that quick, but we'll at least have them in place so we can start to do that. Okay, so we'll come on down here, and as you can see, here's a good shot of the gray and the foam, and here's this is the earth, this sort of greenish color right here. That is the Woodland Scenics earth, and it sits on top beautifully. Get this out of the way right here. Back here, you can really see the variety of size that comes in that package of sand. You can really see the difference. And I don't see any white. I've not seen any white at all on this. And this is where I stopped, and I blended it together, and I've added more green over here. This really you're not going to see anyway. I'm going to explain to you here in just a sec what this is going to become. So, and this comes on around. So let's talk about this corner right here real quick. All right, you remember when I had this, and this was over here, and this is where the station was going to go, was here with a parking lot, and we're going to have that. I'm going to custom make an entire superstructure of this right here that's going to cover this entire corner right here. And these 3 main lines are going to pass under it, and we're going to put one of the huge towers on top of that. That's going to be like a 3-foot tower right here. And right next, this is going to be something we're going to be printing in the next couple of weeks, so it's going to be coming pretty soon. Right next to it's going to be a station, the passenger station. And we're going to have it so you can see through the I-beams like this right along here, so that when we're down here, we're shooting, you can see through below, and you can watch the trains pass underneath. And I'll put a foundation for the building probably right here, the tower, so that it's more prototypical having a foundation going down deep, stone or a concrete poured foundation. We'll have a loading platform right here for the passenger trains, and we'll have an elevator and some stairs that are going to come down that you're going to be able to see. And this is all going to get lit up with lights underneath. We'll have lights underneath this and underneath the building so that you'll be able to see all these tracks really well right here. And the concrete wall will keep coming around right here, and it's going to come over to here, and it's going to, I'm going to bring it out, probably bring it out past here. I'll probably cover all of this with the plastic, the styrene, and it'll be at an angle right here, and we'll just cover this, and that's what will all be underneath where this is going to be. So I've got 2 sets of tracks here already painted, so I've got all the track that I need to get around the curve right here. And then we come to this area here. This is so as you can see up next to the stone, this I've used a multitude of material. We've got not only do we have the sand and we have the earth that's right here, we've also got the larger scale ballast, the medium ballast. I've got gray and buff both, so that it looks like all this is kind of eroding a little bit right here. And I've kept it, I've put, this is the coarse turf right here that I'm using for the bushes. This is all glued down. And what I'm going to do to make it look a little more realistic is I'm going to take some lighter green or yellow paint, or just towards a yellowish green, and I'm going to dab on I'm going to dab highlights on the top of all the bushes just to give it more of a three-dimensional feel. I wanted to see what this looked like with, a car running across, and I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. So if you're thinking about, and again, ballast will be all in here. This will all be covered with ballast. So if you're looking at trains coming through, you're going to have that for a background with the big buildings right here back behind it. What we're simulating here is like steps, what they call steps in mountains, where you have layers that have been carved and done to form that come out of the mountains for like when you have cities up in the slopes that head up. So these will be the steps that are heading towards the mountains. As we'll have some areas right in here, we'll have a few raised areas of foam that'll be like some of the hills that'll be going back into that. So anyway, this all comes down, and I'm not putting any of the coarse turf between the tracks. My maintenance away crews keep everything really, really clean. So there won't be any weeds or anything growing along here. I am going to get some of those static grass tufts, and I'm going to cut a few little areas out, and a few areas I'm going to put the static grass in along here. I don't really want to invest in the static grass maker and all that stuff if I don't have to. And you can buy a sheet of tufts for about $7 to $9, and probably one sheet will do the entire area right here. So, oh, hello, glad you joined us. So we're going to just keep coming down this way, and like I said, I'm going to keep now I will put some of the coarse turf on this side, like this is coming away from the track. So this is all pretty much done now, other than the ballast. And I'll show you what I bought for ballast, like I said, in a minute here. All right, let me get this pushed down so I can get over here into the corner. All right, here is one of the biggest changes. So since we had our last one, I finished this corner off. I put the piece across, the triangle across, sealed it up, and I took my 3 main lines and I brought them on around here, right like this. And this leads into our really big change that's coming. So, what we said before is we were going to have this turn into our mountain. And the mountain was going to be right here, and this was all going to be tunnel. Well, that's not what that is anymore. So this is going to be an overpass right here for 4 cars, 2 lanes, 2 cars each way coming and going. And this is going to go across, and it's going to go back here. And since this is all city now heading into the foothills of the mountains, I'll make a drive back in here, and we'll I'm probably going to have another overpass right about here, and then another one down that way, and we'll show that in a second. Okay, so, oh, hello, glad you joined us. All right, so this area right here is now one of our biggest new areas. This is carved. This is all new carved right here that I did. This, if you guys will recall on previously, this was the section that we had back over here that was going to be against the wall over here. What I did is I just cut out a little extra foam, and I inserted this into place, and I've gone in and I've weathered everything. And you can see how that all came out. Nice highlights. Oh, by the way, now I've added 4 more lights up above, 4 more LED lights up above, so you can really see all the details and everything. So, and that really helped when I was painting these highlights, having that light above, so I knew where to catch everything. So we'll come back here in a minute, and I'll talk about what's going to go on here in this corner. So we just continued the scenery on around. What I'm going to work on too is going to be this guy right here in a little while. So we just continue this all the way on around. I don't have the earth down on this section yet, but like you can see here between the tracks. I'll be doing that pretty soon. That'll be coming along right here, and like I have on the other side, and I'll be finishing that up. So again, we've got the tufts, the coarse turf right here. It's all along the way, and that goes that way. Now, so what we're going to do over here is the mountain that we have is going to be against the wall. And this is all going to turn into industry right along here, so that we can have a nice place to bring the track up from the lower level over here as it comes up to this upper level, and have switching along here for a bunch of industries, maybe even a small yard or something. And that'll all be leading into the big city that we're building over here on the side. So there'll be some background mountains, and then the backdrop that we put up here will have probably a photo backdrop of a mountain of some sort with the sky. And of course, we will be covering the windows with Masonite, and then putting backdrop on it, painting backdrop on it. So, all right. Well, thank you about the modeling on the rocks. I appreciate that. I really take pride in those. That's the artist in me. 40 years of painting and drawing and doing things. That's I try to put it all into play on this. Okay, so this is going to come down now here. Just completely open. This is going to be kind of nice because here's my work table. So when I just want to throw something running, it'll give me something to look at as it goes by over me as I'm down here working. So that'll be kind of nice. That'll be enjoyable. So then this is coming over here. Now I'm going to experiment over here, and I'm going to change this. Thank you for that. Yes, it is kind of a Rocky's wall. Yeah, this is going to be the steps up in the mountains. So, I'm going to try a little bit of the yellow color that I do for limestone. And I'm going to see if I can't get some limestone color transitioning right here. Because when I do the jump track, which is going to come across right here, like we did down here on the HO, it's going to come across. It's going to be really wide. So these 3 tracks are going to come across the jump track right here. The 3 are going to be on the near side of this and hook up with these. So this is going to give me a pretty wide shelf that I'm going to put some brackets right here that will hold it, help support it. And I'm going to have 2 joist hangers right here, and we're going to do 2x4s across like we did down below. So what this will do is I'm going to take the shelf on back a little ways and let it tie in right here. And then that's where when we spin off the outer track right here, I'm going to put a switch, and we're going to spin off a track that's going to climb right through here, all the way up to this level right here, and that's what will give us our sidings that are going to go this way. Now, back here on the door, I've got room right here to put another shelf bracket in and put a shelf bracket there. I'll get this knocked down so I don't have to worry about it. And we're going to put a shelf across that is removable, so if I have to get out the door, I can. But this is going to be a change out for industries right back here. What we're going to do is we're going to create a bunch of different shelves that have industries on them, so that depending on what we feel like running for the day, we can change out the cars for the trains. So like, for example, the first thing I said I was going to do was I was going to put the coal, the new power plant back here. So we can run coal cars back here and have a dump area for them and everything. We'll use that thing that we got from Menards, that power plant. We'll put it there and make some modifications to it. So then we get tired of running coal trains. We just simply lift that shelf out, put it up in the attic and storage, put another shelf down, and that could be a big grain elevator, that could be anything, a cement plant, we could have a food processing place so that we could change up the cars as we go. So when this track comes up right here and comes up to level, we'll have a switch right here that'll go into the sidings, that'll go back in here and be back in these industries. This is all going to be stuff that's going to be coming very quickly. Now that we've gotten this lower level done, I'm really motivated now. So I want to get all of this in place. And then this will actually have some sidings that come off also, and we may do some industry here that's tied in with it. And then whatever doesn't go back here will come into, like I said, will come into the siding that goes from point to point, and we'll run all the way back and hit whatever industries we want back here, maybe feed through the town a little bit, and maybe go back to some industries in the corner. So it'll be a nice point to point right there. We'll have a place down here in the bottom for the other, the end of it. So, yeah, well, thank you. So as you can see, this has changed now a lot. So what we're going to do here, this is going to be one of the things that'll be completed fairly quickly. Let me get the light down here a little bit. Okay. So, what I've decided to do, this is going to be kind of like, sort of like horseshoe curve, how they've got it to where, I don't know if you watch Virtual Rail, but they've got a camera where it shoots and you can see the 3 tracks and the rock behind. So that's basically what we're going to do right here is I'm going to take and we're going to make a parking lot right here. And I'll put cars here, and we're going to put a lot of grass down right here, and everything will be fenced underneath, and you'll have a viewing area for rail fans. We're going to have a bunch of people like out right here, being able to watch as the trains go through. And I was hoping maybe I could do something as far as a piece of equipment on display like they have there. They have I don't know, it's a GP something or another, like over here on this side. So I thought maybe I could put a caboose right here, surrounded by a fence for just display, and I might try to still figure out how to do that. So that's coming. So this is going to be finished. I'm hopefully going to have this thing completely done with it being covered. I've already got the I-beams. My son made the I-beams for me. They're going to come across right here. We're going to have 5 I-beams that come across, and then we'll have some connecting right here. And then, of course, the rotogloff. You've seen this many times on layouts and shows you've done and everything. And we'll do something kind of fun on the ends of it right here. We'll save that as a surprise for later. So then back here, I'm going to put a little bit of foam in, cut it down, and bring it up to level right here. And that'll tie in for the roads that go that way. So the gray that I was having the problem with, I'm going to try to use on this. This is something I'm going to work on painting this week. These are all the parts I've got to do. So I will, today what I've got to do is, you see this guy right here. I'll set the camera up over here when I get ready to do it. I've got to cut the scenery material out right here and get it level so that it's at the level here. You can see back here where I've cut that one out and I've scraped this one out right here. So I'm going to do that here in a little bit. We'll do that after we sit back down and we talk about things for a little while. Okay, so, here is, okay, this is the ballast that we got. This is the fine ballast gray blend that we got down at Hobbytown. It was $12.99, $14.99 retail. I went looking online for it, and the cheapest I could find it on eBay with shipping was around $30. So I know his shipping isn't that much. So if you're interested, it'd probably be about $18. But your local places should have it, including Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby carries a lot of Woodland Scenic stuff, and I do believe they carry this. I don't know if they carry the whole range of it, because this is the medium. And I'll try to get a little closer look here. You can really see the difference in the coarseness of it. So this is what I was using that I was telling you about, that is the rock against the wall, like the wall's eroding. And then this is what I'm going to use for ballast. It's almost like a really fine sand. So that is going to be an interesting day or 2 or 3 of ballasting these 3 tracks. And I've got 3 more tracks to paint, which I'm going to do here in a little while too, as we're visiting. It'll just be another work day, and I'll show you how I do that. So, and speaking of, we are going to be changing up this. We're going to do this for a while, and while I do the work, we're going to leave it in the horizontal mode. But we are going to change this over in about a half an hour, and we're going to go vertical with it so we get some more exposure with the people that just watch vertical videos. But that won't be for a while yet, not while we're working on this stuff right here. All right, so I'm going to put the camera down, and I'm going to just do another quick overview. Like I said, this is going to look, I'm going to be really happy with this when we start to go videoing. I've got to go up here to the ceiling, and I've got to take this, and then I've got to move it out, and I've got to take that one, I've got to move it out, I've got to take this one, and I've got to move it out so that I can have the cameras further out here. So when they shine, they're going to hit this whole face. So that'll be coming up here pretty soon, and we'll move some more lights up there when we do that. Now, another big change. This right here. I don't know if I talked about this last time. I don't think I have. I've decided to make this a double track. So what'll be happening is this is not glued down to this at all. The actual deck part of this bridge is not glued to the frame. So we're going to take this off, and we're going to move it over this way a little ways, and I'm going to make a double one exactly the same, and I'm going to put it here so you've got 2 of them running together side by side, so you've got a gap between them. And I'll take the handrail that I've got here, and I'll put it on the reverse side right there. So we're going to have a double main line elevated, which is why I've kind of eliminated having the 2 main lines on top. So you'll have your double main line coming through right here, and then I'm going to get rid of this piece right here. I don't need this much of a curve, So I'm just going to do more of an angle right here, and it's going to come right here. And this, of course, will be all in between all of the big towers. We've got probably between 10 and 15 big towers to be scattered out through here. They'll all be anywhere in 2 to 3 foot tall, which in scale is going to be huge. So that's all. So this will be changing, and that's going to come all the way across till it hits the hills right here, the blue will here. And then once it hits the hills, it'll be like where this rock down here will be carved up here, and it'll be running on the top side right next to the wall back there. And then that's where the 2 tracks will come across right here, and there'll be the elevated tracks that go all the way this way. I am going to take right over here, and I'm going to, in the rock, I'm going to hide it behind. I'm going to do a switch off, and I'm going to do a downgrade back here so that the blue main line, the blue elevated line here, you can actually get them down to the lower level right here. At least to this level, and then if they want to, they can go to the lower level. So essentially, you could start a train down here. The way it's going to work is you can start a train down here. It's going to run along the whole way here, come around here, come around, hit the upgrade, go back up here, hits here, can either go do the industry or switching, or it can come through here and it can hit that upgrade here. That'll bring it up to the level of the elevated blue line up here. So it comes and it connects up here, and it can come across, and then it'll come across on the double height over here and end like that. So really, we're going to have a really long run for the trains once we get that done. This is going to be gone by our next live feed. This is all out of here, and I'm going to take this shelf up a little bit. So I've got a little more room. So as you can see, in about 10 days, I did a lot of scenery work here and a lot of painting and everything else. All right, so I'm going to set this down, and we'll just talk about things a little bit more, and then we'll go to do some work. I'm going to have to get back a little bit so I can make sure I'm kind of in the frame. So let me have to step over my HO. All right. All right, so like I said, a lot has changed. Things I thought we were going to do, we just wound up not doing. The reason we took the station out right here, it was going to be too prominent. The station, it was just a big station. I don't know. Yeah, here it is. If you haven't seen it, this is the station. So this was going to go right here, spanning over the tracks, with a big parking garage right here. This is enormous, and it is in scale. It is correct for what it is, but it was also going to have a tower that was this tall on this side and a tower that's this tall on this side. And that was just, it was going to take away from everything else that we have around here. This is just going to be big and chunky, especially with the big parking garage sitting next to it. So it just didn't make sense having that. So the station we put here is going to be more similar to like a Walther's Union Station, with that stone look next to a tower that goes here. Now the tower that goes here, you may think, well, that's going to be a big distraction. Well, they're thin towers. What we have, like this one right here, it's probably going to be about maybe that big in actual width. It's just going to be a tall, thin tower with some neat outjuttings at the bottom, and then we're probably going to make it like a hotel conference center, and I might put more conference center on that side with the station right here. That would make sense. So, and this will all be lit up. So that just didn't work anymore after we got to this point, which is why I've taken so long to get to this point of doing what I'm doing here. Why we didn't glue anything down, why we didn't do anything, because, and for a little while before this actually became what this is right here, I was actually thinking of cutting this foam back even further and making 2 more tracks here with yards. But that, then I'd be cutting into the city, and I really want to do a lot of work in the city. Plus, if I'm going to have the industry over here, like I said, I can put a couple yard tracks over here, or even on the shelf right here.
How long it took you to carve the
Okay, so we had a question, how long it took to carve the entire rock wall. Um, the actual carving part, not long. Um, I have a video showing it, and I think I did when I did the video. I think I did from like showing how to carve. I think I did from right here to here, and that took 15 minutes to do. So the carving is actually not that bad. You let the knife do all the work, and I show how to do that in the video. You just use it, you pop. You just keep popping the foam with the X-Acto blade. You get a really good sharp X-Acto blade, and you work both directions. And it doesn't take any time. And there's a brush I use that has steel uh, wire as the brush, and you just go along and you scrape and clean everything off afterwards, and it gives you some more grooves, and it does a nice job. Even the painting doesn't take that long. I also showed how to do the painting on this, and to do this section right here, painting the gray took maybe 5 minutes to paint the gray, and then the black wash that I put on it probably took maybe about 5-10 minutes to do the black wash, and that's getting it really wet and dragging it off. Again, we have a video showing all of that, so just go back through. There's some live videos that show how I did all of this, plus there's also how-tos. And then doing the light highlights that you hit all these little edges with. You can spend as much time as you want doing that. For me, I did, like this section right here was probably 10 minutes. So probably total time to do this section right here. This is about 2-foot section, 18-inch 2-foot section right here. Okay, so 30, 35 minutes, something like that, from carving to painting to everything to finish work. So if you take that and you multiply that out, so this means I probably have, there's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, about 6 hours is about all it took to get this rock wall. And it's really going to be an excellent backdrop to the engines, because we're going to be running really colorful engines, modern stuff, and against that gray is such a great neutral color to have any kind of color in front of, because it just makes everything else in front just snap and just stand right out. So it's going to be, if I, like I said, I'm going to try doing a little bit of the limestone over here, which I may pull into the jump area here. But if I'd had any of the limestone color here, any engines that would have had yellow, red in them or anything like that would have kind of died against this. So this just gives you a fantastic background for doing that. And we're going to have, up here, the buildings with the, I wish I had, I do. I'll grab it here and I'll show you just a sec. The buildings are going to have colored windows, reflective windows, blues and reds and everything. So we're going to have a lot of color, just not down where we're going to be photographing and videoing. Because look how this stands out against that gray. I mean, it's just, you get down at this level with the camera, it just pops right out. So, yeah, I would say about 6 hours of work on that entire, 6-7 hours of work on that entire wall. And to do the actual debris, well, not debris, but the ground covering itself, the sand, I did 5 layers total on this. I built it up so you'd have some undulations and things like that, because I didn't put any plaster down. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. So I was doing probably a section like about this big right here, about a 4 or 5 inch section, a couple inches deep. That total work time, because I would get it going, get wet, and I'd move on. The total work time to put all the material in there was probably 15-20 minutes. So I don't know. I guess probably another maybe 8 hours, 9 hours doing the scenery coming around. Gluing the rubber down, nothing painting that. I mean, probably for all 3 main lines, probably hour doing all of that, gluing it down and painting it. The only thing that was a time killer on the gluing it down is you've got to, when you use the glue, which I don't know where it is, it's around here somewhere. You got to put the glue on the back side of the foam road bed, mush it down onto where you want it, and then peel it off and let it sit and cure for 10 minutes so that it actually starts to dry, air dry. the glue air dries, and then you put it back down, and then it's hard as rock. Because I had to peel off some right here, I actually had to cut off right here to make this curve, and it took me a little bit to get that off of here. It was pretty good. And where I'd use the glue along the edges for the scenery materials, it really didn't want to come off. So it's good and permanent. But yeah, so got a little off topic there. But yeah, I would say 8 hours total work time. Just standing here working away, heading that way with it, and I'm really pleased with the effect. I may get the camera when I get ready to move it down here for what I'm getting ready to do, and maybe do a close up so you can see some of the color highlights along there. So because it did come out pretty good. So I've got a problem. I don't know if I'm going to put any. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to put any of the turf material, like maybe up on the ledges or something right here, because I really like how it's just gray. I really, I think if I was to put any color up here, it would be distracting. So I'm probably not going to have anything growing up unless maybe it's in like one of these vertical cracks right here. And I may do just a little bit up there, but I don't think I'll do anything on the horizontals. So that's where that is. Okay, so do I have any other questions before I move the camera and I show this and I set it up for working on this over here? Because if not, I'm just going to go ahead and we'll get to the working part of the video, which I didn't say we were going to actually do any work, but I thought, well, I've got to do some stuff anyway, so I might as well show you guys how I do it. So if not, we will just move the camera over, and I'm going to show a little bit better here. Let me see if I've got which light I can turn down so you can see a little bit better. Probably that one right there. Okay. Oh, I want to show you something real quick first. I got to step over the jump track. What I was talking about on the skyscrapers. You can buy this stuff. I got some of it at Walmart, some of it Michael's. So let me grab this. Okay. So here is party foil. Okay. Great stuff. So what I'm going to do on some of the buildings, I don't really care about lighting up, but I want to have a really beautiful finish too on the just like daytime stuff. And there'll be a few buildings like that. I'm going to take this stuff right here, and I will make a pattern for the size. Let's just say it's this building. So whatever this face is right here, I'm going to take this and I'm going to roll it out and I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to glue it to the back side so you will have this color in all of the window areas. So they make just about any color you want. I picked up a gold and a blue. They also have red, green, anything else. And they also have them in transparent. This is actually just a reflective foil, but they also have them in a transparent product, to where you could do this exactly the same way with the color, and then have it lit so that if you want to do night running, you can turn it on and all your windows, if you don't have like shades over and stuff like that, would be a color. I just want to go with the reflective part of it because most buildings during the daytime, their windows, if they're a color like this, it's very reflective, and it shows everything. And so that's I'll play around with one. I've got an extra building right here. I'll play it once I paint it. I'll play around with it, and I'll probably do like one end foil, one end the like blue see-through.
History of use says very nice.
Oh, well, thank you. So we said very nice. So I'm going to test on each side, and then I'll see which I like. And that's what I'll go with on probably the more prominent buildings, like the big one that's going to sit right here. I'm not quite sure. So that's why I want to play around with one and see how it's going to look. So this you can find anywhere. And I think this is about $2-3 a roll. And you use it for, it's basket wrap. So you use it for like gift wrapping. So, but great colors. I've got a purple too, but I think I'm going to mostly go with the red, the gold, probably silver, blue, and green for any buildings that I do like this. Well, anyway, so that's, just wanted to show you that's what's going to happen on those. Okay, so let's go over here, and I'm going to cut this out. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to do a little work, and we'll just visit. You guys have questions, you can just ask, but I'm just going to do a little bit of work over here, and then we're going to go over to the table, and I'm going to get some of this track, and I'm going to show you how I do the track in real time. So, and then what we'll do is we'll do that, and then we're gonna shift over to the vertical formatting. It will stop for about 5 minutes, get ourselves reset up, and we'll launch again. And it'll be the vertical, because we find we get it reaches a different crowd. So we'll just be doing that, but you guys can come right back in. If you got questions going on at that point, then we'll just answer them when we change to that. Okay, so let me bring this over. I'm gonna set this up and try to get a good shot of this corner right here. And we'll get that scenery dug out. All right, let me see what I can do. I think this will probably be a pretty good spot. I'll have to angle the camera down some. As you can tell, I'm definitely into scenery mode by all of the paints, everything up here. So let me see what I can do here. That's not too bad. I'm having a hard time with the light above, but I think, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, you can see that pretty well. It's like right in the center of the screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I use just a little flat screwdriver like this. And this is where I want to go. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than I need to because this way I can adjust it. Hey, Gabe, will you bring me those I-beams? I want to show what this is going to look like after I get the stuff cut out. That way you get an idea. See, right now I don't want to put them up there because they're going to be slanted. All right, well, he's bringing me that.
Just have to peel the supports off of them.
Yeah, well, I can just show it with the supports in place. It's not that big a deal. All right, so here's what our I-beams look like when they come off the printer. That's the great thing about a printer is I told Gabe yesterday I needed 7 3/4 because that is from here to the middle of this brace right here, this column set. If I got my measurements right. Yeah, it looks like I did. Pretty close anyway. Yeah, that'll work. It has supports and stuff in here that I have to peel out. I'll probably take one apart, and it's not that hard to get all of the support stuff out of it. But anyway, we've got 5 of these that are going to go across, and then I'll have some that come across right here. That'll finish up the distance because the only reason this is not a full print is because our plate is only 10 inches, and this wound up being 12 inches across right here. All right, so let me get this out of the way. Let me just mark this where I need this to be. I hate doing this kind of thing because it's like, oh, I just did all this with the scenery and now I'm tearing it up. Well, it happens. So we're going to come here. Then we're going to come and give ourselves a little bit of an area like that so I can adjust either side. Like that. All right, and then we're just going to come across here like this. This is my seam. I'm hoping I can get that pretty flat. I mean, it's glued on it. Oh boy, I got a screw right there. Okay. I'll have to put that down in a little further. Didn't realize there was one right there. But that's all right. That's the joys of model railroading, having to work around stuff. All right. Now we'll just get the rest of this cut out of here. I tried to set this back far enough thinking about wider or longer cars coming through. My radius is pretty flat. I think this is a 13-inch radius, which is pretty good for in scale. That should cover just about anything and everything that I need to do. 6-axle engines down to like auto carriers to the longer container cars. If I have any passenger stuff that I want to do. Could you give me one more thing?
Yeah.
The vacuum. We're doing that. I'm going to get that guy down in there a little bit further. I'm just going to screw it in with a screwdriver. Okay.
Big one, right? Not the handheld.
Yeah, big one. Yeah, thank you. Yep. All right. So give me just a second here. We're going to get this. I want to clean this out, make sure I've got a good enough spot for it. And then I'll take care of that, the head of that screw. We'll get that down in a little bit further. I should have done that before I actually put the scenery on, but scenery does cover pretty much everything. You can hide those kind of things, so that's why I don't really worry about it that much. But yeah. Okay, so we're gonna plug this in. All right, it's gonna get noisy for just a second. So as you can see, that the gluing of putting all that scenery down is really good. Nothing else really came up or moved when I had that on, so that did all right. All right, I think that's pretty good right there. Okay, so let's let me get my screwdriver here. Let's see if I can get this to go down in a little bit more. Oh yeah, that'll go. Perfect. Okay. So here it is. Nice. So I'm trying to line up with the other one. So we got to get the edges all lined up. All right, let me pop one of these real quick here. I'm going to stab myself. I do that all the time when I'm trying to get these supports out. That's the only bad part. It's getting under here, and I know I'm going to stab myself. Nope, didn't. So the supports just peel right out. You just got to get a, let's see, get this right here. There we go. We got, there, that's the support. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like. All right, I got a few things to clean up on them, but there's basically the I-beam that I need right here. And it came out really good. So way this will go, gonna have it, I have to move that out just a little bit, or I may just need to make these a little bit longer. Uh-oh. Yep, knew that was gonna happen. Okay, so I have 5 of those, and then we'll be doing an extension right here to cover the rest of that. So I'll have 5, so I'll have 2 more here, 2 more there. That's actually not too bad. I may not have to reprint those. It's gonna, yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, so then when I get this built with all 5 of these, and I get my the simulated concrete that goes over the top for the road bed, it'll drop down. There'll be a drop side to it that'll hide a little bit, and then of course the guardrails on each side. I'll show you the size of the cars. There's some printed cars that we have, so it'll be able to be 2 on each side of the center line going each way. So that's what that is going to look like right there. I think that looked really good, and it's high enough. The reason we took some measurements, make sure we got everything just right. This is high enough to clear any of even with the track on it, clear even the highest car. It barely covers it, but we have about maybe 1/4 of an inch difference in it. So that should look really good with the camera angle down here looking low. So if you get it, let me get a good idea here so you can see how that's going to look with that overpass right there. Coming down like that with that being right there. So I think that'll look really good. So I'm pretty happy with that. So like I said, then we'll finish this up with being the railroad park for viewing. We might even put a little something up over here, maybe another park so people can look down at the stuff that comes through. Oh, I was going to show you. Let me see here if I can get a good close-up of this. Let me get some light here. Let me get some. There we go. Okay. So what in that video you'll see, we start with the black, and I just take it and I drag it down. I just cover the whole thing with like an ink consistency of acrylic, and then I just pull it down, and that leaves you with the lighter areas to the top, darker areas down below. Let's see if we can see here. Yeah, and then what I do here is using the lighter colored gray that I mix. That's what I've put all along here. So that looks like I'm gonna have to come and do a little repair work right here. When I was cutting it, I had to cut this piece off. I don't know if you guys remember this piece that was right here. It's back there. It's that piece right back there. This is like this extra mound right here, and we had another one right here that I've had to pull off, and that we're doing some repair work on, because then, like I said, the big cities, the big towers will still be here. The big buildings are going to come to about right here. The skyscraper is going to come right here. Then it's going to start downgrading in size of buildings. Then we'll be down to like townhomes and apartment blocks right through here, and then maybe some smaller houses and neighborhoods right here, and then we'll be into the mountains. Okay, so that's what that's going to be. So next time we get together, you'll actually probably see the finished product of this right here. We probably have the cars on top and everything else. I'm going to do some nice weathering. Not a lot. I'm taking as my example the Houston interchange, right? That the virtual rail does. That uses the light gray. It's very light gray to white. And there's not a whole lot of weathering on it. So I'm just going to do a few highlights on like the edges and stuff, like I do here on the edges of this, just to give it that pop. So that's what that'll look like there. And then I've got a good asphalt gray that I'll paint the top of this with. And I'm going to do all the striping for the lines and everything through there. So that'll be what'll be sitting right there. It'll be a nice focal point right there. All right, so now we're going to go towards painting. I'm going to have to get the vacuum out of the way, but we're going to paint some of these tracks. So we're going to set up the camera right here, and I'll show you the track painting. So let me just get this moved out of the way. I'll get this set right here, and I'll check the camera angle on it, make sure we're good. Let me get this out of the way here. I'll get the vacuum out of the way. Get all that taken care of after a while. Okay, so get this on. Let me see how I've got my camera angle here. Yeah, that's pretty good. This is my bowl that I put all my paint in. It's, I don't know, it's almost got like a full bottle's worth of paint built up in the bottom from over all the years of, past year and a half of using it. Got my glass of dirty water. All right. So next step is going to be that. I've got my little pad here to get the excess water off from the brush. So I've got a couple brushes I go back and forth between depending upon how fast I want to go. It's more of a flat brush, rectangular flat brush like this. Let me get this on right here, see if this helps any. I wonder if that helps. So you can see that a little better. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set up here. I'm going to get some track. And I need 3 more pieces to, I'm not going to do all 3 live. I'll do 1 complete and show you how that's done. But I need 3 more pieces to finish up this lower upper level. So we're going to start with this. That's all Atlas Flex Track, obviously. So, all right, I use, let's see if I can get this on the camera pretty good. Where are you? Here. Okay, so this is honey brown. You can use any color you want for your track. I know some people want a darker brown, but you saw how that looked up there. And when I get done painting this one, I'll take it up and I'll show you again. When I put that blend on, that fine ballast gray blend on, this brown is going to stand out beautifully versus a darker brown. If you're going to go, for me, doing too dark of a brown, you might as well just leave it black. Now, and what I like about this, using the black track over going ahead and starting with the brown track, is this already has shadows already in it by having it as black plastic. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put little bit of that in the bowl. I'm going to get a little part wet, part regular, just plain paint. So depending upon where I'm at on it, I've got both to choose from. Okay. So this is what I spent doing. Let me see, how many pieces have I done so far? We've got 6, 7, 8, 9. I've done 15 pieces like this so far. And I don't know, I'm going to have to come across the jump track here. So that's probably going to be another 9 pieces. Plus these 3 that I have to do right here. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit of light. So what I do is I rock the track. You can do this HO or N, doesn't matter. I rock the track so I can see where the plate is in the spike. I don't know how well this is going to come across on the pictures, but I will pick up the camera and I'll show it to you once I get an area done. And I pick up the paint, and what I do is I let the paint run out of the brush, meaning I let the paint just kind of use all that I can. And that way you have a few areas that'll be brighter before I pick up the next batch of paint off of here. So for example, I just did this. You can see this is kind of, well, you'll see it when I get the camera to it. This is lighter, then you got brighter, and then you got more, then I'll have another bright area here. Fade it over, get rid of that a little bit. That one got a little wet on me. Okay, now I tip it this way so I can see the spikes from this side. And we just take it right on down. What we just did. Get a little bit of that, dab it off so we got more of a dry brush effect. You don't want it too liquidy. I use the more liquid version on the outside of the ties out here. Because they're so small, it gets kind of glumpy if you use the regular paint thickness. So you want it thinned on the outside. Okay, so then I just come back here and I just drag this across the whole way to finish up any areas that didn't get paint on. So then I dab the brush, get it a little bit dry, and then I go in and I dab areas and I just take paint off and let that black come through. Those shadows like I was talking about, how you already have your shadows built in. That's all I'm doing right here. Is just letting that black come through. A little bit on the rail, so if you do that, you just do that. Now I inspect my rail after I get done doing this section. I rock it back and forth, make sure I don't see anything on the inside that's going to interfere with the power to the engines. Okay, so that.
Shay lady says, looking super. She loves the post.
Oh, great! I'm glad you're enjoying it. Somebody said they're enjoying the everything that we're doing on this, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you are having a good time watching. Okay, so again, I will show this in a little bit. I'm going to come down, and what I'll do is after I get this done, the inside, I'll get the camera and I'll show it, and then I'll reset it up for doing the outside. All right, so get down here a little bit further. And just come on down. Just check and make sure I'm not hitting anything on the inside of the rail, and I'm not. Yeah, that's looking good. And again, I dab it, and then I knock a lot of the paint off into the bowl so that we don't have too much. Okay, and then I'm going to start going back the other way. Get a little bit, knock that off. I'll just keep coming down. This goes pretty quick. I don't remember how long I timed myself on doing it the other day when I was doing a bunch of them. Because I was like, this is taking me forever. But it really wasn't. Once I timed it, it was like, oh, well, it's not bad for getting the effect I want to get. So, because I guarantee you, the brown ties, brown tie track, it's just a solid brown because it's molded in the brown. You're not going to get this color. The black coming through the brown. You're not going to get that. And it just adds so much depth to it. Now, I don't bother going down the side of the tie. I'm hitting mostly the surface and the ends. The reason for that is, for my days of drawing, I would always highlight the ties. I would want those looking really standing out. So the black on the sides, when I put the ballast in, the black's going to make a shadow. It's going to make that tie stand out. And the same holds true for the ends. It's going to really make it stand out. Uh, in fact, I'll be using a shadow technique when I put the ballast on the side of the roadbed that there is. But I'll show that on a future video. But you kind of want that black down in there. And you'll see when we get to that point the difference it makes. I could just push this down in between. It wouldn't take much more time than I'm already doing, but you kill the whole thing that the tie is doing for you as far as giving you that shadow. So as you can see, I'm moving down this pretty good. Now, if you're doing HO, just get yourself a bigger brush. Same amount of time, bigger brush. That's all it takes. Is what I'm doing right here. I would do a brush that's probably about 2.5 times the size of this to do HO. O scale just keeps scaling up and put a bigger puddle of paint wherever you're working. That's all you got to do. And it's going to take you about the same amount of time as I'm doing right here. And that's just not that much. Not to get an effect like this. I don't know if you guys really saw it against that gray up there. I don't know how well it came out on the camera. But these tracks stand out beautifully on what we've done up there. So I that gray is a pretty good match to the gray blend that I have. So I've already got an idea of what it's going to actually, the final product's going to look like with what's sitting up there. And I'm really happy with it. This brown is going to stand out just beautifully. And I mean, you could if you wanted to. You just have to paint it more solid. If you don't want to pay the extra to buy the concrete tracks, this could just be the same thing. Just get yourself a concrete, do the same thing. The only thing you'll have to do is just make sure you're not going to want any black coming through because it's going to show. Well, it depends on which version of the Atlas track you have because some of these have got a really good wood grain to them and some of them don't. The ones that don't are more flat, so it would look more like concrete would look like, a concrete tie would look like. So, but if you get the version that has more of the wood grain to it, it's probably going to look a little funny. Probably not, unless you put a really thick coat on, which you could, and you could hide a lot of it. Because if I did that right here, I could probably obliterate the completely the wood grain without you being able to see it anymore. So you just have to put a thicker coat on to achieve those results. So I'm just going right on down. If I get a little thick on the side, I just push it down a little bit. If I see where it's kind of rolled over and gone down in there, so and when you do that, you get the black back versus being just all paint. So that went down a little bit right there, so I want to make sure I get that. Okay, so now we're going to just do this. Come back in, bring some of the dark areas back out. I'm almost at the end of this track, getting pretty close. Yep, just that left. I'll do that in one go. I hold it from underneath. When I'm moving the drags, you don't want to get it all over your hands because then you can get it on the rail. There we go. We're getting there. Again, damping it off on the inside of the thing, the bowl. Okay, and we'll just come this way. Almost got it. And then I'll show you how it looks. Some of that liquidy part. And just keep going with this all the way down. Okay, so then I'm just gonna smooth it. And I'll check my rails inside on both sides. Make sure I haven't created any problems for the trains, the engines for electrical pickup. But I've done enough of these now that I'm pretty much have got the pattern down. Okay, get that here. All right, clean this. Get my paper towel. Okay. Let me do a quick inspection and then I'll get the camera and I'll take a look. All right, the inside of that side is fine. There's a couple of spots. Let's see, here we go. I just use a toothpick. And if you see anything, you just come in and you just get it. That takes care of it just real quick. Okay. Little spot right there. Sometimes it's a reflection. It's hard to tell if it's actually paint on here or not because this is reflecting up on the side of the rail. So sometimes I get to scratch it on something and it's like nothing's there. So don't think it's dry and you can't get it. That's probably more than likely what it is. It's just a reflection. Yeah. There's a few here I can already tell are just reflecting this. All right, let me check this side. Okay. So let me get the camera and then I'll set back up after I show you this. Get this under the light. Get that moved just a little bit. I'll put it back over here. All right. So here's what we got now. Try to get zoomed in on it and try to get some good light. Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, there we go. Now get on that white so you can see it. All right, you can see how the black is coming through in spots. And that's what I wanted. That's what I like seeing. And it just kind of runs the whole way down. So you get this uneven look all the way down. Like that. So you can see how that is really got that black's giving some good shadows. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the sides here. Let me get this reset up. Okay. All right, so now the sides I use more of a liquidy paint. So I'm going to thin it a little bit, just get some water on the brush, throw it into where the paint is, and get myself definitely some thinner paint. Okay. Get the brush itself pretty well dried off. All right, so now we'll just come down here and I just go right up to the spike again. You can see when you get close to it, you'll see the plate appear on the edge of the paint. So you just want to go right up to it. This goes pretty quick. And then we'll get the ends. And by having a little more liquidy, the black comes through a little bit more on the ends, which is what I kind of want for a standout on the outside. But again, here you pick up some bright, and it'll give you a nice variance in the colors. You'll have lighter and darker by putting. And again, I just let the paint run out of the brush, where the brush becomes empty, like that. And go back in and get a few of the areas and thin them out a little bit more. You just want that randomness. Just like that. We're almost to the end. Let's see, got a little bit right here. And of course, now this was used track that I bought. So the first thing I did was I used 600 grit sandpaper. And I sanded the entire surface, both a little bit on the inside and the very tops. Tested it, perfect after you do that. I don't know why 600, it's very smooth, but I don't know why an 800 wouldn't be better or 400, but everybody recommends a 600. So I did the same thing and it seems to work fine. So we're just gonna keep on going with that. I bought about, I think it was about 80 pieces of this for around $30. 80 pieces of the track used like this, around $30. And then, of course, there were the pieces that were really bad. But you know, for that price, when you consider normally they're around $4, $5, $6 a piece, You know, you take that times 80, that'd be $480 I got for 20 bucks. So it was worth me taking a sandpaper to it, taking all of, I don't know, just to sand one of these, it took me all of about 5 minutes to sand it, going both directions. All right, so now all of the top is done of the ends. So I'm going to get a little more wet here. You tip it on its side, and you just hit the very ends. Now what I do is I drag both directions like that, and I just let the paint just kind of empty out of the brush. And then I'll come back in after I've done it this way. I'll come back in and I'll highlight some of the ends a little brighter with the wood color. All right. And then, like I said, after we get done doing this, I get done doing this piece, we're going to take about a 5-minute break, and we're going to shift over to vertical, and then we'll be back. All right, so now I've got it all the way, so now I'm going to just get some of the thicker paint, and I'm just going to come back in. Yeah. Oh, well, good. Somebody said that they have some track and that we've inspired them to try this themselves. It's worth it. It really is worth it. Now, she said she has Kato track, so that's the unit. I'm assuming that's going to be the Unitrack. And I have painted Unitrack in the past, and it's a little more difficult to do because of the ballast issue. Already molded, but no biggie. I've done it, and it looks really good. And then you could actually, if you wanted to, you could do a black wash, which I've done in the past. So I've done a black wash. Maybe I should do a video about that. I did a black wash on the roadbed part, the roughness, to where you could get more of a look of roadbed doing it that way. Maybe I should do that. Show you how that really comes out. Looks really good. You can achieve almost the results of like having real ballast on it by doing it that way. Okay, so there's that. So all I have left to do on this is flip it. And by the time I start getting dry to tip it on its end to do the ends, that side will be completely dry. That is the wonderful thing about acrylics. Is the wait time is nothing on having to, unlike oils and thinner bases and stuff. Now let's get this up a little bit more so I can see what I'm doing here. And again, after I get this side done, I will get the camera and I'll show you how the sides look. I'll tip it and let you see what I was talking about as far as the darks and the lights go. And it does take a little bit of time. I timed it out. It takes me anywhere, depending upon my mix of paint, anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes to do a piece of track. So, I mean, if you've got a weekend, you're doing nothing, you don't really have any projects on the layout that you want to do or work on an engine or something, this is a good way just to, I usually play music. I got my playlists up there that I really enjoy, and I just turn the music on and just get lost in thought on working on this stuff. Usually what I'm going to be doing next on the layout is where I'm usually at. So just about got it. I always love getting to the ends right here because then I know I've got a piece just about done. Especially when I'm onto the second side of the ends. These will be the pieces right here that I'm working on right here. Now see, I found, like, and what's nice is when you're going along, if you see some areas where it looks like it got a little too thin, I just come in and there's a couple spots right here. I just add a little bit of the brown back in. Here and there. I mean, that's the thing. You can control That's the great thing about this versus already like buying the brown track and stuff. You can really control the exact look that you want. And you can see I'm already touching down here and tipping, and I'm not doing anything. It's already dry on the other side. So that's what's I love about acrylic. And they sell things. If you want to blend, I have certain techniques I use when I blend my colors together. I'll probably show that when we start doing water and I'm doing like a river or a lake, and you want a deeper part and you want to show the shallows. I've got they make they may actually make extenders for paint thinner and extenders for acrylic that you can mix in and it'll mix like oil does. I also have a couple techniques that I've developed just in my art career over the years of really getting this acrylic to really flow beautifully. It's what I did up above on the layout where where I was doing the scenery. I put the base color down, which was chestnut and brown. That was my dark brown. And then on top, I used light mocha. And I basically use the same techniques I used on weathering my cars for a lot of the weathering techniques I do. And it flows and it does beautifully. It gives you a really good base. All right, so now we're just going to.
Crochet lady asked, did or do you teach?
Oh, somebody asked if I did or do I teach. I'm assuming meaning about art. I did used to teach. I used to have private. I used to teach privately. Many years. A lot of kids really saw some great talent come up, and I'd still be doing it if it wasn't for my eyes. Had issues with my eyes over the years, and I've had cataract surgery, and this is even pushing the limits right now for what I can do. I used to be nearsighted before the surgeries, and it made work so much easier. The paint work and the artwork so much easier. And now between the floaters and the not having the nearsighted vision anymore, just about all I can do, and I'm good at. I'm good at doing just this. I don't have to worry about. I've shown some of my artwork in some of the videos we've done on the live sessions before, and I'll probably show some others. And we've featured some. We've had some videos where I just showed nothing but the artwork. Okay, I'm going to come back in here, and I am going to do a few of these areas where I want to make sure there's more brown, like I did on the other side. So we've got these variances. And then I'll get the camera, and I'll show you. And then we're going to take a bit of a break, and then we're going to go vertical, and we'll be back. And what we're going to do when we come back is we're just so if you're not going to miss anything if you're ready to be done, because when we come back, we're just going to be doing an overview, like when we started this one, about what's happened to the layout and where it's going. I'm not going to be doing. You guys got to see the work session. I'm not going to do a work session in the vertical formatted one. Okay, so let me get this clean, and then I'll get the camera and I'll show you from the top and the sides. I'll try to get some good shots of it up close. All right, let's see here. So, see if I get some light. Yeah, you can see the brown on the tips there, on the very tips of the ties, and on the ends. And let's see. Yeah, you can see here now there, and you can see the variances that we do, that I do on there, where it's some of the ties are on the ends are brighter. Let me get on the white here. There we go. Some of the ends are brighter. Some are just got more of the black coming through. You can see on the tops how that is. Yeah. So this one's definitely a good one. This is going to go, and I haven't. Sometimes I got to do some corrections and things if I'm not happy with the end result. But this one, I'm happy with everything on this. It looks good. I don't see any on the sides of the rails anywhere. It doesn't really matter on the outside of the rails because there's no electrical pickup on the engines there. Oh, there we go. There's a good view of it. Got out of the full glare. You can really see. There we go. Just having a hard time with these lights. But now you can really see how that looks. Okay. There we go. All right, so I want to let this dry, and by the time we come back in the vertical format, it'll probably be enough to put it up on the layout somewhere. Just get it out of the way. Okay, so if you guys will give us just about 5-7 minutes, something like that, we will get reset up with the other way. All right, but if you don't come back completely, thanks for watching. But we will be back on here in about 5 minutes. And again, we'll just, when we come back, we're just going to be talking about, it'll probably just be maybe a 20-30 minute video. We'll just be talking about all the stuff that's getting ready to happen, what has happened. So, but thank you for watching this week. And if you have any questions, just send them in the comment section. This video will go, it'll be archived, it'll be going up live. Well, not live, but it'll be on our video, on our live section. You'll be able to see it and review anything you want to do. All right, so I'll have him come in and shut this off, and then we'll reset up, and we'll see you in a few minutes.